Hello everyone, this is Andrew, the Archon Philosopher. Welcome in, talking philosophy to the philosopher in all of us. Today's topic is the quantum realm is not reality. It is potential reality. And this idea of the quantum realm being a realm of possibility has come up, but I think it's potential reality. I think it's semi-reality, and we'll get into why this is. But there is confusion out there, and some of this confusion arises from the use of words, especially words like reality. So let's get into it a bit here. And we have this book by the late Steven Weinberg, a famous physicist and scientific realist, I guess, who had a book, Quantum Reality. And I'm saying, well, what is reality here? What does he mean by reality? Because this quantum realm is something that I, and in fact no one, experiences. We cannot experience this very, very small world of very, very small particles. And so how do we know that it's reality? And ultimately, we're going to be dealing with the Heisenberg cut. When does it become reality in the classical realm? Because things in the classical realm we see, we experience, and we can measure them. And this is the world that we live in. This is the lived-in world, is the classical physics world. And so if we want to talk about reality in the quantum realm, but we don't experience it, then we run into a lot of problems. And, I spoke about this in the objective universe idea, which is ultimately, it's nonsensical. Because if we have this objective reality, who is it an objective reality for? Who's going to confirm this objective reality? I'm just wondering whether this is some way to introduce a supreme deity into the equation. That somehow some supreme deity or evil genius guarantees this objective world. And thus this quantum reality is part of this objective world, and the supreme deity can access it and confirm it. And make sure that it's there waiting for us to stumble across it. This is not a good way to have things, really. Maybe if we used a different word, and I'm using realm. It's a realm, and it's a realm of potential reality. It's a realm of potential being, and we'll get to this. But let's take a look at some issues and meanings of words. So when you see them, and when I see them, you want to just put a little red flag up and say, what does this writer or person mean by these five terms? Exist, real, being, capital B, being, and reality, and the verb to be in its forms, is, am, are. And in my Laws of Physical Nature video, I clarified through 4 easy criteria how we can distinguish between what is real, which are the laws of physical nature. We experience them intersubjectively. We can intersubjectively measure them, but we cannot geographically locate them, and we cannot come up with an immediate proximate causal trail. Then what exists is the things in the world which we can geographically locate and come up with an immediate proximate causal trail easily. We experience them, and we can measure them. And reality is finally activated with being, which is this being is a difficult word because it's so close. Stuff is happening all around with the things in the structure of what is real, and this is the being activating it by sentient creatures, you and I, and other sentient creatures, talking about it. Then we give being to this reality. And I use is, am, are as freely used, but sometimes a philosopher normally would say something is. And in this case, they're using it as exists. So we want to watch for that. So I'm going to say, again, with this objective reality, with this quantum reality, who experiences this? And what we actually find in looking at it is we only have a probability matrix, a density matrix, or a probability cloud, or they have wonderful ways of describing this realm. And that once you take a measurement, then what happens is it becomes a particle, and now it's entered the classical world. We can experience that particle, we can see it. But before we take that, before we see it, it exists. Sorry, there we are. It's tricky. What we have is a potential to bring it into reality. We take a measurement. We cannot experience it, but once we measure it, then we can experience. So it's a potential reality. It doesn't exist in this previous to measurement state, but it has the potential to exist once we take that measurement. And people debate when exactly that measurement happens, and we'll see that maybe that's not the most important question, but the most important question is not to confuse reality with non-reality or potential reality. Let's move on and bring up a guy I studied a lot, Martin Heidegger, great existentialist, writer of Being and Time, and he spoke of our lived-in world as a clearing, and I call it a field of experience. We're in a field and we experience things, and the structure of the field are the laws of physical nature, and the content of the field are the things we encounter. And this clearing is an opening where all of this stuff can happen, and it happens to sentient creatures who Heidegger calls Dasein, their being. It has a there, and its being is of issue to it. Where are we? What are we doing here? So we live in this clearing, and in the middle of the clearing, classical physics operates. Everything's pretty stable. We can get it. We can navigate successfully and sustain ourselves in the middle of the clearing. But the further we go out, we stumble across oddities and things we cannot explain. And this happens in every direction. And, I stumbled across another guy, Mikhail Bakhtin, who was a moderately famous Russian philosopher, and he had an idea of unfinalizable. And he had this in meaning, and I extended it to apply to the laws of physical nature. And what happens is, in the structure of our field of experience, we get to the very edge, and suddenly things become fuzzy. They don't become clear, they become fuzzy. And part of the edge of our clearing is the quantum realm, and things become fuzzy, where it's not fully being because we cannot experience it, so it doesn't have being, but it has the potential for being. It's not in reality, but it has the potential to be in reality. And once we take the measurement, it joins into reality, and then we can experience that particle on that screen. And ultimately, we can only do it now with very small particles, but this is true in the macro world. As Eric Ladinsky said, quantum mechanics applies on the macro level. It's just we're prevented to, in the interest of stability. You don't want to be recollapsing wave functions all over the place. But as we get to the very edge of our field of experience, we get something called unfinalizability. And David Hume, way long ago, awakening Kant from his dogmatic slumber, he went down the causal trail at the very edge of our clearing, as it were, and he said we cannot see causality. We can experience it. We see when we strike the match against the friction pad, and suddenly the chemicals there alight into fire, and the deeper you go, you just cannot answer why this collection of chemicals and not some other. And this is the problem in the causal trail. We don't see causality in total. We see causal effects, but we don't see the reason why. So this is the problem with all of the laws of physical nature, that we experience them, we can measure them, but there becomes an unfinalizability to all of them as we go down, including materiality. And we're going to discuss this on later videos. But this is what we've got here. We've got a reality where the edges are fuzzy. and we just cannot really penetrate some of these edges. And I'm going to go back to Heidegger again, and he had another idea which I took and expanded, the idea of equiprimordial. So equi is equally, and primordial is primary, foundational, basic. And he had this associated with Dasein, the sentient creature, but I took it and expanded it to the laws of physical nature. And these laws include all the laws of physics, but are wider than them because our experience is not only of material things. We have experience of time, for example. And so what happens is that all of these laws of physical nature are equal, and so one cannot tread on the other law's territory, so to speak. You cannot interfere in the workings of time. And so we can ask the question, what causes one moment of time to be after another? Or in any sort of snapshot now view, what causes, the window to allow us to see one situation and then another situation in some causal sequence, however you want to put that. But how does it, what causes it to be like this? Well, this is just the way that time operates. Time operates this way in order that we can have this universe. And if we were in a different universe, it may operate differently, but we don't know that. But in this universe, to ask the question, what causes one moment of time to be after another, makes no sense, really. We just say that's the way time is. It's equiprimordial to causality. It will not allow causality to interfere in its very simple, basic, primordial operations. And so we actually have some evidence of this, oddly enough, in terms of Heisenberg. And this is a difficult idea to get. The uncertainty principle is really an epistemological principle that we cannot know both, a particle's, very small particle's motion and velocity at the same time. And so we're at the very, edge here of the clearing where things become fuzzy. And so, but it turns from an epistemological problem to a problem of reality in some way, in that if you do manage to isolate a particle in a very, very small position, such that its position is known, then you can still not get any knowledge of its velocity. And so consciousness, as one of the laws of physical nature, it appears as the structure of our field of experience, and it attaches to various things in various levels, that consciousness cannot intercede and interfere or dominate, or however we want to put it, into the operations of materiality, another law of physical nature. Materiality is going to operate as it operates. And so we cannot have consciousness come down and do certain things. However, once we collapse the wave function and do that Heisenberg cut where we move from the quantum realm into the classical physics realm, after the cut, yes, we can determine both motion and velocity with great accuracy in the lived-in world. And so it appears as though this idea of equiprimordial, where each of the laws of physical nature will not allow interference or intercession into its affairs by any of the other laws of physical nature. And so what we have ultimately in dealing with quantum reality is it's not reality. It's a potential reality. And this is part of the fuzziness that's at the edge of our field of experience. And I think most people, even people who study it and think about it, know what reality is. And you cannot claim that things that cannot be intersubjectively experienced are part of reality. You have to intersubjectively experience something. Otherwise, we can introduce hallucinations. We can introduce ideas. And one person has an idea, suddenly that's part of reality. This is Alexius Minong's Golden Mountain, that if you can think it, it's real. What? No, no, no. There's no golden mountain. I don't care what you're thinking about. And so we have, in our shared lived-in world, we've got features such as the real laws of physical nature. We can experience them intersubjectively and measure them, but we cannot geographically locate them or come up with an immediate proximate causal trail. And then we have ideas. And a lot of people, I think this objective reality is maybe an idea. It's just an idea, but the ideas, they don't exist in the same way as things in the world exist. They're just ideas in people's heads, or they write them down in books. We can geographically locate them wherever, and we know who comes up with them, maybe or maybe not. But I can very easily separate between ideas and the things in reality. I can say, I'm going to hit you with a book, or I'm going to hit you with an idea of a book. Let's put some skin in the game here. Which is going to hurt? Hitting you with the idea of a book or hitting you with a book? So we know how to navigate reality. We know the different features of it. Hit me with the idea any day of the week. I like that. Don't be hitting me with books. That hurts. So we can tell the difference. And when people bring up ideas and claim that it's part of reality, in the same way that things in the world are part of reality. No, it's just an idea, a fanciful idea, a golden mountain idea, if you will. Maybe this is the objective reality. It's just a fanciful idea and not an attempt to introduce a supreme deity or evil genius which can guarantee the reality of this as somehow physical, or temporal, or any of the features that apply to the things in the lived-in world that we navigate through. And so other people have approached the idea of the quantum realm as a realm of possibilities, sure, and everyone admits that there's some funniness. We can not experience it, but we can measure it. So it seems to be semi-reality, a potential reality. And I'm going to end with an idea that if we go into the quantum realm, we reach the border of reality where it becomes fuzzy and it's just potential, and after that it's just non-reality. But note that within each of us, we were contained of matter, and within that exists this quantum realm, which is the border of reality, and it's inside every cell in our body. And this here is the boundary of reality. So when we talk about the field of experience, and I think it's on the screen right there, this boundary is not a normal boundary. And each of these points in our body is an intersection of all these laws of physical nature, a boundary. So the field of experience is a most interesting collection of boundaries. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Hope you gained something from this. And as we end the program, I just want to recite that when we know where we are, we will know who we are, and then we will know what to do. Thank you for supporting this channel.